COVID-19 has been a reality for over 2 years. It's something health departments and communities across the United States continue to monitor and track. In this three-part mini podcast series, Lessons Learned from the Pandemic, we've invited Stanford's leaders and top healthcare professionals to share their insights on topics ranging from the community's response to primary care and prevention, as well as mental health. Joining us today for part one of our series, focused on the Stanford community's response, is Stanford Mayor Caroline Simmons and Acting Health Director for the City of Stanford Department of Health, Jody Bishop-Pullan. Welcome, and thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be with you today.
We're so glad you are here. Thank you so much.
Mayor Simmons, you bring a unique perspective to our topic. As the current mayor of Stamford, Connecticut, you assumed office in December of 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Can you give us an update on how the city of Stamford is doing in terms of COVID-19?
Yes. So, as you said, right after we were sworn in, we got right down to business. And the first thing on our list was making sure we're keeping our community safe from COVID-19. And it's hard to believe that we were entering the second year of dealing with this pandemic. And I just want to thank our incredible team at the city, our health director, Jody Bishop-Pullan, our public safety director, Ted Jankowski, and all of our public health officials and first responders for their incredible work and devotion over the past 2 years to keep us safe. So we are fortunately doing really well, much better than when we had the peak of Omicron in December when we had to reimpose the mask mandate. We're in much better shape now. I want to credit the Stanford community for doing their part to get vaccinated. And thank you to Jody and your team and the CHC for your partnership in getting vaccination sites out into the community more equitably. Stanford is the second most vaccinated city. 84% of our eligible population is fully vaccinated. And our positivity rate is down to 6.8%. So we've really come a long way. And we're going to continue to work to make sure people stay safe and healthy, stay vigilant, and continue to work to get people vaccinated and boosted.
Those are really impressive numbers, and kudos to the community for doing their part. As we continue to recover and rebuild, it does appear that with the different variants, we could expect to see some dips and spikes in the numbers of reported cases, at least for a while. Although I'm sure many people want to just move on, it seems like it would be necessary for the city to have tools and resources in place to both treat and prevent COVID-19. Now, this is a two-part question for you, Jody. Can you explain what the Test to Treat initiative is?
Well, we certainly have learned a lot through this pandemic and are continuing to learn more every day. The Test to Treat initiative is a national program, and it basically means if someone tests positive at a clinic, they can get medication immediately. We currently have one Test to Treat clinic in Stamford, and we are advocating to bring more here. We do have several testing sites, however, and free COVID vaccine clinics in the city for everyone ages 5 and above.
And what additional tools, if any, does Stanford have in place?
Well, it is still a good idea to test at home or at a testing site before attending gatherings or travel. We have recommended people wear masks if they or a loved one are at high risk for severe disease. And of course, it's important to stay home if you're not feeling well and take a test if you've been in contact with someone who has tested positive for COVID. It's important that we have these tools in place for prevention.
Well, as we've heard today, the city of Stamford has been doing a lot since the start of the pandemic. Mayor Simmons, would it be fair to say COVID-19 is more manageable today?
Yes, absolutely. It's much more manageable today than it was 2 years ago. As Jody said, we've learned so much about how to combat this pandemic. In the beginning, we didn't have PPE equipment and we didn't know how to treat or handle this pandemic. And now we have the tools and resources from PPE equipment to the vaccine and boosters, of course, which is the best way to protect yourself from spreading the virus. And we have much more capacity at our hospitals. So we're in a much better place. And that's really due to the incredible work of our public health team and our community.
Wow. Well, given that assessment, what has been the city's recent response?
We are asking our residents to make individual choices to protect themselves and their neighbors. So, to use common sense, if you're not feeling well, please stay home, get tested, of course, and follow the quarantine protocols. Masking is currently optional throughout the city. However, we are constantly monitoring our test positivity rate and our hospitalization rates and continuing to follow CDC guidance. And as Jody mentioned, there's still multiple free vaccine clinics available across the city. So we urge everyone ages 12 and up to get their booster shot. And of course, anyone who's not gotten the vaccine to do so. And again, really just want to credit Jody and the team at making these sites available across our community, making them more equitable. Everything we've done to get PPE equipment out and tests out. There was a time over the holidays when we had a shortage of tests and we had to work
Wow.
rapidly with the state and our National Guard to get more self-test kits out, and we doubled the amount of testing we had available. So there's a lot of resources, and we're encouraging the community to stay vigilant and take advantage of those resources.
That's great. Jody, Mayor Simmons mentioned the need to ask people to make individual choices to protect themselves and their neighbors. What information could you offer to help guide citizens with those decisions?
As the mayor mentioned, the severity of disease is less. However, we have to remember that COVID is still among us, and it's important to protect those who may be vulnerable to more severe disease or those who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated. So, the most important thing to remember is take advantage of our resources. Test if you are sick or have been around someone who's tested positive, and that avoids spreading it to others. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have those testing sites throughout the city, and you can purchase home test kits. The federal government is still providing them, 2 to each household in the U.S., ordered online at www.covid.gov/tests.
That's great. Well, that brings a close to this first episode in the 3-part series on lessons learned from the pandemic. Thank you, Mayor Simmons and Jody, for joining us today to talk about the Stamford community's response. And friends, we invite you to stay tuned for episodes 2 and 3, where we'll be exploring more about COVID's impact and lessons learned, specifically on primary care and prevention and mental health.